Okie dokie, here we go. It's Wednesday. Happy hump day to everybody. I got a bunch of stuff to talk to you about today. It's kind of random stuff. Give you a little bit of a progress update and hold myself accountable for some things and thoughts that have crossed my mind. So to start with, yesterday I was running a little bit behind and stopped at Burger King to get breakfast before I started. I had 2 houses to clean yesterday, so I definitely needed to eat something or I was not going to make it through the day. And I went to Burger King and I ordered sausage, egg, and cheese croissant with a large sweet tea, and that cost me $9. I'm like, holy moly, like, what is going on? Well, I know what's going on. The prices of everything is going up, and it's affecting the food service industry. And sorry, guys, I know that, it's affecting the industry, and they have to account for the increase in costs on their end, and that is always passed on to the customer, but I can't be spending $9 a day just on breakfast. So I decided yesterday, after spending that amount of money on a breakfast that I think should have only cost me $6 at the most, that I'm not doing that anymore. And I used to do this back years ago when I was recovering from a divorce. Went to the store last night, bought myself some eggs and some cheese and some croissants at the bakery. They have some pretty good croissants where I live at my grocery store, and some sausage, and I made my own this morning. I used 5 eggs and ended up with 7 sandwiches, and I think mine are better only because I added some green pepper and some mushrooms to my eggs, because that's how I like it, and a little bit of garlic powder, because that's how I like it. And I wanted to pass that on to you guys, because I know we're all trying to save a little bit here and there, and the cost of food is, it's affecting everyone. And so there's ways that you can save both time and money, because now I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the week, is, do a little meal prepping and make it yourself as opposed to going out. And I've been doing that with coffee for a long time. Like, I like some of the Starbucks, or even some of the cappuccinos at the that you can get in the gas stations. But even if it's just $1 or $2, that adds up. So I buy, my fancy creamers, and in this case, I made my little sausage, egg, and cheese croissants, and I probably paid $9 for 7 sandwiches versus $9 for one meal. So, I'll just make my own sweet tea. Sorry about the lighting. I'm so sorry about all that. I'm driving again. And I'm going to save me some money, and I let Ray have one this morning too. So, it's there for him if I have to make some more later on in the week, something, or if I decide to eat like grits or whatever, I can do that. And there's food there for him during the day if he is feeling like he doesn't want to cook something. It's something easy for him to just throw in the microwave. So there's that. Then the other thing is, I wanted to tell you about my friend Janice, who's just started selling on eBay, and I'm telling you, she's rocking it, and she's calling me every time she has a question, which is fine. We live in the same house. She just lives on one side and I live on the other, so it's easy to help her. She can come over, I can go over there, but she's learning a lot, and she's really doing very, very good. Like I said, I think I created a monster. But I've been doing most of my listing. I'll do work that I don't have to actually take pictures or pull things out and package them up or whatever during the week, and I've been doing most of my picture taking and initial listing on the weekends, and I'm doing more of that on her side of the house because she's obviously got more space than I have, and the lighting's better over there. And so she's been coming over, and we have these conversations about things. And you know what she did? I had bought these vintage, I bought a tea set and I split it up, and I was having trouble figuring out the name of the pattern. And she said, well, did you check replacement.com? So she's actually, you know, figuring some things out on her own too. And I hadn't even thought of that. So she's helping me now too. God, she's so, anyway, you know, we have these conversations about all these different things that go with selling online, like what's the best way to price something, or what's the best way to ship something, or, you know, how do you figure out what it is even, you know, sometimes you'll find something, you're like, what the heck is that? And I was just wondering, and you guys can let me know if you want to see some recordings of these. They're spontaneous, you know, they're not scripted or anything, but if you want to see some of these conversations that we're having, if you'd be interested in that, so let me know down below. And if you're interested in that, I'll have to talk her into it because she's shy. If you go back to some of my really old videos, you might see her like walking by or something when I have a video outside, but she's not, you know, she's not an extroverted person. She may agree to do it though, because I'm going to try. You guys can help me with this. I'm going to try to talk her into getting herself a little YouTube channel where she can start showing some of the things that she's selling, and maybe even help her boost her store a little bit more. She's really coming to the point now where she's either got to slow down because she's going to start, well, I don't want to say that. That's not really fair because that's a personal decision. But she started out, she doesn't have a store or anything. She's at the point now where she's going to have to make a decision. Does she want to keep listing and pay the insertion fees, or does she want to get a store subscription and pay the subscription cost and be able to list more without having the insertion fees and so on and so forth? So she's really learning, and she's kind of at a crossroads. But you know, we have these conversations, and sometimes as we're talking through things, I think it's really interesting for one thing, but for another thing, you know, she's learning things, I'm learning things, and it just may be helpful to other people if I can talk her into doing that. So you have to help me help her take that step. And then the other thing, there's a couple things let's see. I've started going back to Mercari, listing things on Mercari. That is not my favorite platform. It really isn't. And Mercari has had a notification that November 1st, their, I forget what they call their fee, but it's like the listing fee or the insertion fee that eBay has. That's going to go up to 50 cents. So every time you sell something, they're going to charge you 50 cents plus whatever their fees. That starts November 1st. So there's that. That's new. And then there was a couple things on Poshmark that I discovered or learned. Poshmark has just recently been sold to a Korean company. And so for now, they're saying nothing's going to change. I mean, I know what it's like to have a corporation sold. So I'm a little bit skeptical because in my experience, they said the same thing. They weren't going to lay people off and blah, blah, blah. And later on, that wasn't the case anymore. So, but anyway, this Korean company has bought it. So now it's not publicly owned anymore. It's now privately owned. So there's no stock. So I don't know what happens to Poshmark stock. My understanding is that they've decided to put the algorithm back the way it was about 6 months ago because people have been having trouble getting their stuff to sell on Poshmark. That's been a big thing that people have been complaining about for a few months now. And so apparently they're going back to the way it was, which, you know, the algorithms are always a mystery. For us that sell on it, we just know whether or not our stuff is moving the way it's supposed to be. That's about it, you know, as far as really understanding truthfully the algorithm. They're a mysterious thing. And then the other thing is, people have been talking about this, And I was on there, and at the top of my news feed, there was a little announcement that was saying they've started the live shows now. And I know that there's some, what do you call it, like competition between all these different platforms now that Whatnot is doing the live auctions. And so I clicked over, there was an auction going on at the time, and I thought, well, I'll just, see how it's going. And there was a lady who, she apparently had, I don't know how it all works, okay, but this is what I observed. She was talking about the pieces that she was selling. She was trying them on herself and describing it just like you would in an auction. And you could see the conversation going down at the bottom as if, like when you do a live feed, you see conversations, and you could tell when it was purchased and if that item is no longer available for sale and who bought it. And then off to the side, there was somebody kind of directing her. They were probably monitoring the screen and helping her make the sales too, I'm assuming. But so I thought it was really interesting. And then in the live stream, people could also comment, oh, that's a really cute blouse, or, whatever their thoughts are. And I really thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting. I don't know at this point how you get to do that, if you have to be a certain status or you have to be invited. I know that they're scheduled because I went on this morning to see how you would find a live sale. And when you go on to buying on Poshmark and you start scrolling down through the things that show up on your feed, it'll show live sales that are coming up, and it tells you when they're scheduled, which is convenient. So if it had, like, in the topic of the sale, so say you're interested in a certain designer or a certain kind of clothing, and you know that show's coming on at 12 o'clock, then you can be available for that, or when to fit it into your schedule. So I think that's good. I have not heard whether or not they've been really very successful yet. I don't know. But I really thought it was interesting. Thought I'd mention it to the people that watch my videos. I don't know if you guys are interested in that or not. But I do know, I know some people are selling live auctions on Facebook. I ran into somebody a few months ago at my post office, and they had a big lot of shipments to go out, and I asked them if they were resellers, and it was actually not the lady whose store it is. It was a guy who was, I guess, takes her stuff to the post office. And so he told me the name of their store, and I looked it up, and I wasn't particularly crazy about how they did theirs, for a couple reasons. So without saying the name, they were very open about selling reproduction, which is not legal. It's not legal. So I would never do that. I'd be afraid that I would get caught, and they weren't hiding it at all. And then they were a little bit, I thought they were a little bit abrupt, telling people, and saying people's names, that you haven't paid for your item yet, and we're not shipping it out until you pay it, which, that can be embarrassing. So those were two things that particular seller did that I didn't like. But I really, so far, from what I can tell, to do these live auctions, everybody that I've seen, the niche lady, she does live auctions on YouTube, and some of hers are pretty interesting, because the ones that I've seen, she does it like by color. So this is the blue sale, and everything she sells is blue. But it always seems to me like you're going to have somebody help you, like monitor the chat and keep track of what's sold and for how much and where you're going to send it and all that. So there's that kind of thing. And then with Poshmark, once you sell something, I don't know how you get the shipping information, and that back end part of it is done. That hasn't really been very clear to me yet, but I do think it's interesting. I think it's an option. I'm not really ready for it right now myself, but it's something on the back burner that I am thinking about. So that's all my random little crazy thoughts. I'm not sure when I'll be back, but anyway, I got to run some stuff into the post office and then get up there and clean the gym. So I will see you again. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. Bye-bye.